Okay, people. So I'm delighted to be joined today by Matt Fitch to talk about his new short film, The Trick. Matt,
That's
welcome
right.
to the podcast, man. How are you
Yeah,
doing?
thanks very much. Yeah, I'm good. I'm good. Nice to be here.
Splendid, man. Like, yo, there is definitely an interesting short. Definitely an interesting short. Wasn't expecting it to end the way it ended.
Yeah. Are
How
we doing spoilers?
well, I leave it up to the creatives to how much
Oh,
they want to reveal, but I'm happy to just skate around what this is.
well, no. Yeah, it's an interesting short. So I actually co-direct and co-write with a guy called Chris Baker, who unfortunately couldn't be here right now. He's on a plane
Ugh.
because he lives in Spain, so he's going home. But yeah, it's a horror film, but it's not horror in the traditional sense with like people getting, gory, horrible, stabby things.
Mm,
It's more psychological, more slow build, and yeah, builds, hopefully drags the viewer in and builds towards an ending, which you've mentioned, which is designed specifically to give you a little shudder. So
yeah, there's a
yeah.
lot of questions once this was done. I was like, oh,
Well,
why?
that's good.
Where could it
I
go?
mean, that's good. The best films, I mean, it's only a short film. It's only 4 minutes,
Mm,
which doesn't sound like a lot, but it was purposely done to just be a short, sharp burst, but hopefully with a lot of depth and a lot of questions that I actually know the answer to probably some of them, but we left them open-ended on purpose because it's part of the fun is like, what's going on? Who are these people? I should probably explain what the film's about so that what I'm saying makes sense. But unless you were going to get into it, but it's about a magician in a pub at closing time, and the barmaid asks him to leave so that she can go home, and he says, "Let me do you a magic trick," and that's basically the setup. But it's
mm.
a magic trick like no other. It's a card trick, and it gets a little bit spooky and a little bit scary. And by the end, it's not quite what it seems.
No, no, it's not. Yeah. Yeah. Oh man. But you know what? I do like I don't mind it when a film ends with a little intrigue.
Mm,
You know what I mean? I thought Inception was great that we didn't know, is he in the dream? Is he out the dream? You know what I mean? That kind of thing is and I think because you come from a comic book background,
that's right.
which is very I like that too. But it's like it got a bit irritating when you know what I mean, like you didn't know anything about Wolverine, and it's just like, oh, let's go and tell you Wolverine's, and it's just like we don't need to know all the time.
I
You know
totally
what I mean?
agree. Yeah, and you know what? If Chris was here, he would agree with you big time because me and him, so we write together,
Yeah.
which basically means we both have different and sometimes differing ideas. And he's very much like, don't tell anyone anything, just let them figure it out themselves. And I'm like, yeah, but give them enough to
Yeah.
like begin to. So I think it's a balance. And
Yeah.
I agree with you. Yeah, when you give away too much, and yeah, origin stories. I mean, for example, I love Star Wars, like the
Mm.
originals, right? I grew up with them. I've got even behind me, like I've got Star Wars toys from the 80s and all kinds of stuff, right? I love it. And then they made the prequels where they
Oh.
just explained everything. And my own ideas that I, as a kid, had built up in my head about
Mhm.
characters, and everyone else had different ideas in their head. They got destroyed, and this new version came that was the canon. And now Disney have done it again and changed other things. And it's like, I don't need to know everything about every background character, every blue alien, where did they come from? So yeah, I agree with you. So we try to leave enough gaps for you to like build it in your head. And also on a short film, not only do you not have a lot of time, but you don't often have a lot of budget.
No.
So you can't go and tell the whole everything story. Do you know what I mean? If you were, you'd be making the feature film. So that's part of
Yeah.
the art of short films, really.
Well, I think that's the thing, isn't it? A short film is just a window into a moment, right? Where you know, a feature is the whole book. So you don't need all of that information in a short. It's just something to whet your appetite, to get you intrigued, to, you know, the potential for this to be something bigger, or just the capabilities of the creatives involved.
That's exactly right. I mean, that's why we do it. You know, we you do it for two reasons. Firstly, like we're building a company. We are actually making a feature film, so we're sort of learning our trade and trying things out. But also, yeah, it's about just giving the audience something that they have a good time with for the time they're with it, and that doesn't need to be 4 hours. It can be 4 minutes, you know, or it could be 40 minutes, and we don't want to waste your time. There's a lot of stuff out there to watch. There's a lot of content out there. It's hard to choose. So whatever you do choose to watch, it better be good. Do you know what I mean? So, so yeah, hopefully we've achieved that with this film. And yeah, I hope people like it when they see it.
No, man, I'm definitely sure they will, because as I said, it makes you think. And I have to give mad props to Jenny Eggleton, because like, I feel a lot of this is on her shoulders to carry, right? Because, you know, she has to give the view of being that staff member. She's tired. It's been a long shift. She's tired. She just wants to go home. And I think we definitely see that from her. And she's gone over to this dude and she's just like, okay, so it's time to go, last order. And then it's just like, wait, what? Huh? And you see that shock. And then as the tricks go on, it's the intrigue, and she really does sell you on all of these things. You know what I mean? Which is just fantastic.
Yeah, Jenny's brilliant. I'm glad you've said that, because a lot of people talk about the magician character, and I'm sure we will, but you're right. Jenny, the character that she plays, does carry. She's your audience. She is us watching this thing. And Jenny was, she was in our first short film, which was called Backmask, and it was not that short. It was actually like about 15 minutes. It was a bigger story, so kind of going against everything we just said, right? But it was a bigger story, and she was in it, just a bit part really. She was like a girl at a party, but she gave us her time, and she gave us loads on that day. And Chris and I were working with her, and we're like, this girl's great. Like, we need to work with her again. So when we wrote the trick, we specifically had her in mind for it, because like we knew that she could carry it, like you said. And she'd just had a baby, so she'd been out of acting for like about a year, and this was the first thing she did. She's really experienced. She's acted like for years, but this was the first thing she did after coming back from being a mum. And so we're honored to have her, but she really threw herself into it. And we spent a lot of time, you know, like you said, there's a bigger story to tell. We spent a lot of time with her figuring out who this woman was. Right. Even though you don't see it, like you don't see her backstory, it doesn't really matter. Like it's irrelevant almost. What did she do for school, or what are her hopes and dreams? But we really got into that, and Jenny had loads of ideas. Like, just by reading the script, she came to us and she said, well, I think this, I think that. And a lot of it actually was kind of what I'd already thought, weirdly. So she must have been picking up on something. And yeah, we workshopped it for a while. So she really brought all of that to the table. And I think that's what's important, like with a good acting, is not just turning up on the day and, you know, being able to cry or whatever it is. It's like, it's understanding a character and building a character, and you know, giving the audience, making it feel believable, like a fully rounded individual who exists for real. And then yeah, that's what she's given us. So yeah, big mad props, like you said.
No, I do think that is definitely a thing, right? Because for the audience member, we see someone on screen for a certain amount of time, right? We we hear what they say, we see the things they do. We don't need to know all of their backstory and everything like that. But for an actor, that backstory that's fertilizer. You know what I mean? That's gonna help that shit grow, because you can then play into those things, right? Knowing that, oh, she's just got a new boyfriend and she's eager to go meet him, right? That will be in the, hey, yeah, can we go? Like, you need to drink up and go, right? It's playing into that, right?
Totally.
All of those things, she will then bring that to the way she pronounces a word, how she lingers on something, how she looks at something, right? It's all part of the, the mythos of who Rita is.
That's exactly it. And I mean, like, you don't even hear her name, Rita, in the film. I know her name's Rita, and Jenny knows. And because Jenny knows that actually helped with the story. But yeah, you're right. It gives so much. And also, because we've done all that work in advance of the shoot, on the day, we just, like, we don't need to talk about it anymore, and we can just let Jenny just get on with it, because we've already talked it through. We've agreed to everything. We all know where we're coming from, and then we can, Chris and me, it's really our job to step back at that point and let the actors go for it. And also, like, the actors, they both had their own backstories, but they didn't tell each other. So I knew both, but they only knew their own. So it really was like strangers meeting for the first time. And then they're able, they knew each other in real life, but the characters didn't know each other. And they're able to sort of learn each other even as they're sitting opposite each other at the table. And they are discovering things while the cameras roll in. It's really fascinating to watch, actually. It's really fun.
Well, yeah, because it's just like, I mean, there's a point, just like, just get up. Like, stop this shit. Get up right now.
We did say that to her. We were like, why, when it starts getting scary, why are you still there?
Yeah.
And we had to figure that out with her, and she had to sell it as well, even like in, basically in the film, I'm not going to spoil it, but there's a card trick and there's something unusual about the cards. Even just, you turn over a card and it's not quite what you expect. It's not necessarily scary. It's just a piece of cardboard. So we had to work with Jenny about, like, well, what is it that's scaring you? Why are you being scared? What is keeping you there? And yeah, hopefully it works. We haven't had any complaints yet. So yeah, she did us a good one.
No, it definitely works, because what I mean, there's an intrigue to it all, right? Like, you can imagine she's sitting there and she's seeing these cards, and the deck, it's slightly askew, what I mean? It's slightly different to a normal deck, which could pique your interest.
Exactly.
Right? Like,
that might even be why she's staying. Like, what's going on?
So it's those kind of different things. And then you see the jack and you're just like, yo, huh? Right? So it's kind of like, you can imagine someone being like, well, I'm going to go, let me just see what this is first.
Yeah.
Right? Let me just check this one thing before I go. Right? Which, famous last words, maybe.
Yeah.
But yeah, like, what is it? Because, the fact being that, you do adverts. I do love the cat advert, the Temptations one. That was, that's just,
I didn't know you would have watched those. I'm sorry you had to watch a load of adverts.
That was great, man. I did like, no, there's a thing with me. A lot of times I think adverts these days are terrible. They're a bit like film trailers. Right? Film trailers give way too much away, or make a film seem that it's something that is that it's not. Right? They can sell a drama as a comedy, and then you go, expecting a comedy, and it's a drama, and it might be a great film, but you weren't expecting that going in.
Yeah.
So you're not in the mood for it, right? So I think, and they give way too much away, right? They'll spoil a surprise. It's just, hate trailers, and
I don't watch them. I'm the same. I don't watch them.
Yeah, I will get to the cinema late, so I do not watch the trailers.
Right.
Because they infuriate me.
I've actually sat in the cinema. I've sat in the cinema with my eyes closed and my fingers in my ears, because a film's come on, a trailer for a film that I'm wanting to watch. And I'm like, no. I don't want to see all the best bits.
Yes.
Like, so I'm just sitting there like that until it is finished.
Yeah. No, because like when I was younger, a friend called me up one day and was like, do you want to go to the cinema? And I'm like, I have no clue what's on, but yeah, fuck it. I've got nothing else to do. It's fucking The Matrix.
Oh, yes.
Right? Yeah. So I'm just, and for whatever reason, it hasn't been on my radar. You know what I mean? So I've just gone to the cinema, I've sat down, and then you've got like dodging, but I'm just like, what the fuck is this?
I had the same experience with that film. I went into The Matrix not knowing, because it was 1999, wasn't it? And we had the internet and stuff, but it wasn't like now. So and also Keanu Reeves, who I love, he wasn't really, he'd sort of fallen from grace at that, not from grace, but just fallen out of like favor.
It wasn't
for a while.
As big.
So you're like, whatever, Keanu Reeves film, he's got sunglasses and a leather jacket on the poster, looks all right, whatever. Yeah, I went in as well. And then when they wake up, when he wakes up in the goo and he's bald and everything, you're like, whoa.
I know. It was just crazy. Although I will say, The Matrix didn't invent bullet time. Blade was the first film to use that.
Yeah, that's a great film as well.
That first Blade.
Yeah.
Hey, give me his pig stick. She's like, my hand.
Yeah. That's Wesley Snipes at his best.
Oh man, Blade. I really like Blade 2 as well, but Blade 2 was more of a kind of a monster movie. You know what I mean? Because
it had the mouth
and everything, and
the character. What's the actor? The Bros guy, Goss, wasn't it? Matt
Goss? Yeah.
He's got the mouth that opens.
Yeah, and the cat from Red Dwarf.
Yeah, that is like a monster movie. You're right. Yeah.
But yeah, no, those, and also Gladiator. Like I remember hearing about Gladiator, but I'd completely forgot that it was coming. And so again, a friend called me up, go cinema, and it opens up with the battle in Germany and just the arrows. You just see all of those flaming arrows go, and you're just like, whoa, this is gonna be something. So it's just like you always want to then just get that experience back.
Yeah,
you know what I mean, by not like watching these things.
Yeah,
so it's hard. Just like so that was it. I was like, what was I meant to, as I just went off on a tangent. I was like, what was that
adverts?
But no, because so you've worked in adverts, you've done comics, you're doing films. So what is it about storytelling that grabs you so much? Because you've done it in so many different mediums. You know what I mean? And you've done it well in so many different mediums. So it's just like, what are the things about storytelling that kind of you feel are the essentials?
That's a good question. And I appreciate actually that you call advertising storytelling, because I think I agree with you. Advertising, most of it is fucking shit, right? But some of it is very good, and it is telling you a story. It's telling you a story about why you should like a particular brand or product, right? And it's cynical, and it's kind of like dark magic. It's like the evil use of storytelling to make people buy things they don't want. But so I've worked in advertising for a number of years, and basically I always loved film, always, since I was a kid. And I loved art because I can draw pretty good. And so like when I was a kid, I was like, I'm gonna work for Disney. I'm gonna do cartoons, I'm gonna draw. And then you get older, and I did actually study animation. And then I just sort of fell into advertising because, you know, we all need money and we need a job. And advertising was a way to be creative and create worlds and also work with filmmakers and on film sets and cameras and all the things that I loved and get paid and not be a starving artist, basically. And that is where I learned all about how to make film, from working with amazing people, work with famous directors, famous actors, amazing camera crew, wardrobe, costume designers, everything. But I never really realized when I was a kid that what I was loving was actually storytelling. I thought I loved drawing. I thought I loved writing. I thought I loved film. Whatever it, you know, I'd never really gone, I love storytelling. And it's only actually since I started, like you said, doing comics and film that you realize it is all the same thing. And I think, like, your question was like, what makes a great story? I think it just needs to have some truth that other humans can relate to. Not all humans, but like some humans. There's the human experience. I think all we're trying to do, like, we've always told stories since we were cavemen and women, on cave walls, drawing, you know, buffalo or whatever it was. And like, religion is a way of telling stories to get across morals or beliefs or recording your culture. It's basically something that humans just always have done. I think it's just our way of figuring out who we are as a species and trying to explain it to each other and to ourselves. So that's what I think all stories are, whether it's Wolverine or a horror film about a trick or Gladiator or the Bible or the Quran or anything. They're ultimately people expressing what it is to be a person. That's how I feel. That sounds really lofty, but I think that's what it is. I think that's why we love listening to them, because you can learn. Like, I love watching films. I recently watched a film called Mogul Mowgli, which has got Riz Ahmed in it, and I watched it because it's about a Pakistani rapper. It's not my culture. It's not something that I was particularly interested in at first glance, but I watched it because an actor who we're hoping to work with on another project had a role in it.
Right.
So that's why I watched it. And she was in it for about 2 minutes, and her bit was right at the start, and then it was over. And I could have turned it off, but it was really interesting because I was learning. I mean, it's a great film anyway. Like, you should check it out. It's a really, really good film. But I was seeing like this other experience that isn't my experience being told by someone who understands it in a different way. And they understand what being a human is in a different way to what I understand being a human is. And I like that. I'm like, I feel like you're seeing the world through someone else's eyes. And then you know the world a little bit better. Like, there's a lot of world to know. You're not going to know the whole world. I can't travel everywhere. I can't meet everyone. But through film, books, storytelling, even just talking to people, even when you're talking to someone, you're basically telling a story about what you did on the weekend or what you're going to do.
For sure.
You know, so I think it's just part of our language. I think if like aliens came down and just read all our books and watched all our movies, they would have a pretty good idea of who we were.
Well, I mean, it depends which books and movies.
But they've got to read them all. No, that's it. You've got to read them all. You've got to read everything from everyone, from every culture. And obviously I can't do that. But I do try to read and watch things from other times, you know, other countries. I just think it's important.
Well, I think, you know, as you just said, right, it lets you see this other culture, right? It gives you the ability to look through someone else's eyes. And I think a big thing with watching films from different creatives, you know, across the world, is it shows you how similar we are.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because you can watch a film set in India and you can go, oh, they do exactly what I do in the morning. Huh. Right? They're thinking about what I think of. That's how I would do that thing. And it's just like, you know, you could be on the news channels 24/7 and they will tell you, don't like these people do this, these people do this, blah 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 blah, and it's just bullshit. Right? It's, you know, maybe a dictator, maybe a government, it's not the people. You know what I mean? So we watch and we can see, oh, they're like us. They consume this thing like us. They love like us. They eat like us.
That's
They
it. They're like us,
like
but different. And being different is good as well. So,
yeah.
But yeah, fundamentally, we are human, you know? And yeah, that's what I think storytelling, even the news that you just said, that's storytelling too.
Well,
It
yes.
just depends on who's telling the story and what story they're trying to tell, you know? And also whether or not you're going to believe that story, which is a problem sometimes, you know, like you just said. So yeah, it's a very important part of who we are. And that's why, you know, I don't believe in like censorship or trying to stop certain stories or, you know, making one story more important than another. I think they're all important, you know? And even things like horror or sci-fi that you think are just a bit of fun, Wolverine, whatever, they can have a lot of depth and they can be a way of telling a story that is important, you know? And sometimes it's kind of like a little bit of a trick because you could say something that's important, but through an entertaining way that you're not preaching and people aren't, you know, you're not, maybe you didn't even know you were saying what you were saying. Actually, it's just because you're a person saying it, it's just in the work. I think it's fascinating. Creativity. I mean, why do humans create at all? We don't need to paint or draw or write. We don't need to, but we all do it in one way or another. Like from when you were a kid with some crayons right up until if you're a professional artist, it's something that we all, it seems to be in our DNA. It's quite interesting.
Yeah, I think sometimes, right, it's, you know, you want to have a conversation with someone, but you're just like, I don't know, how do I convey this thing? Let me draw it.
Yeah.
It's easier to draw it. You like drawing, it makes more sense, right? Putting down those emotions, putting down those feelings, putting down that thing you want to say, it comes easier through illustration, maybe, or it might come easier through sculpture or painting, or, you know what I mean? I think that is it at times, right? Or it's like, I want to impress that someone, I'll write them a song, right? I'll you know, I'll construct some music for them, I'll write a poem, right? It can be for so many different things, but I think it's an easier way at times to convey the emotions that we are feeling.
Yeah, definitely. That's, I mean, I feel fully you've nailed it, really. It is. It's trying to express, it's basically trying to express yourself. That's what art is, isn't it?
Yeah. And it's just, that's just the beauty of it, right? And that's why it's all stories, music, poetry, art, you know, like saying adverts, because it is all a way of conveying some information, getting someone to, you know, do something, right? Because it's funny, because, and it's something that I think everyone knows now, but when Stan and Jack create the X-Men, Xavier is Malcolm and no, sorry, Xavier is Martin and Magneto is Malcolm.
Yeah.
Which is just like, and at that moment in time, you couldn't have two black characters. That ain't gonna sell shit. So it's just like they know, okay, if we use them as templates for these, people will gravitate to that more.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's finding that way in to get across a message at
Yeah.
times, because you know, okay, if we say it like this, people aren't going to listen. People will try and shut us down. So let's do it like this instead.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the sci-fi. I mean, sci-fi is a great one, and I would say X-Men is sci-fi. You know,
Oh, definitely.
Mutants and stuff like that. But Alan Moore, famous comic book writer, he said, I think it was him. He was talking about V for Vendetta. It's in the foreword of V for Vendetta, but he was basically saying about how sci-fi is usually not about the future. It's about the time that it was written in.
Yeah.
It's just you're putting across something that you, like you said, you might not be able to say right now. So you dress it up almost as something else. It's like a Trojan horse.
Yeah.
But also I think it happens by accident. I think sometimes people are writing something not realizing that they're making a statement.
Oh, definitely.
And that's good too, because that's just in the DNA of the time. You know, there's things that are written in the 80s that weren't trying to say anything, but you look at them now and you're like, oh yeah, that was actually a really like bold statement. I mean, who knows if Stan Lee and Jack Kirby were actually trying to help the civil rights movement in any way, or if they just wanted to sell some comics.
Yeah.
Right. We don't know. I feel like it was the former. I feel like they were cool guys and they probably were trying to do their bit, but they might have also just been piggybacking on a cause and going, you know what, we just steal that. We're gonna we just make loads of money. But
well, I mean, and is kind of like, you can see someone has something about them. You might not like that person, but you can go, oh, that person's very polarizing.
Yeah.
We could use that, right? Let's strip away all the other and just use that aspect of that person. So it's not like, oh, I've got to like, you know, Martin, I've got to like Malcolm, but you can go, it could have been, that's compelling. We could use that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So as you said, you don't know. A lot of times you have to, you know, it's like when J.K. Rowling, and when they did the play of Harry Potter and they cast Hermione as a black girl. And she's like, when I wrote her, I didn't have color in mind. And you're just like, you're so full of shit, JK. You're a liar. That's so much bullshit.
Yeah.
Because every every character in her books that are non-white, it's very specifically
yeah. I'm reading them now. I'm reading them now because my daughter's 8 years old, so I'm reading Harry Potter with her. And you're right. It's like they're all from the African wizarding, whatever. There's another, not the Ministry of Magic. There's like an African version.
Yeah.
They're from there, and they wear different shaped hats and stuff. Like it is very segmented. Yeah, it's true.
But she says, like, when Harry dates the Asian girl, and it's like, and she's Asian, because she's Asian, and it's just like, okay, I mean, you don't have to write it like that, JJ. But so then to be like, oh, I thought Hermione could have been any. It's just like, what are we doing?
I mean, those books are 25 more years old, right? So I can forgive her because I know, you know, I actually grew up in a really multicultural area, and sometimes I grew up in Edmonton in North London.
Okay, yeah.
And everyone at my school was from everywhere. Like, so even I can see how you would maybe write a character and in your head it's a certain way, but you don't mention it on the page. But equally, I can see how, I don't know, she's a white woman and maybe she just wrote what she thought, but whatever. But yeah, don't lie about it.
Yeah,
it's fine.
I mean,
say, look, that's how I saw it. This is a different version. I've seen that Harry Potter play. It's amazing. It's really good. Yeah, I took my daughter to see it. Really good. And it's irrelevant what color Hermione is when you're watching that, because it's just so damn good. Even the fact that she's not the same as in the movie, you just ignore it. You just you're just in the play.
Yeah.
It's really good.
But that's the thing, right? It's just like those books were written at a certain time, right? So now you want to do something little different. Just be like, you know what?
We changed it.
Yeah, we just wanted to do something different.
Yeah.
So if you don't like it, don't go watch it. That's all she had to do. You know, she didn't have to lie. Like,
Yeah.
But it's interesting just in that, right? In the way she was describing the ethnicity of her characters in the books, right? It's a different way of telling stories because a load of other people do a similar thing.
Yeah.
So it's just, there are these different tropes, these different templates people use when doing these things. Like, I think it's a lot of times it's finding your own voice, right? So with everything that you do, how long do you think it took to find your voice? And would you say your voice is the same across all these mediums? Or do you think you have a very distinct voice in advertising, in comic books, in film?
Yeah, well, it's interesting because I usually work with someone else. So in advertising, I've got a creative partner because in the advertising industry, for those who don't know, you basically have an art director and a copywriter. One of you does the visuals, one of you does the words. In theory, it doesn't really work like that, but historically, that's how it worked. So I have a creative partner in advertising, and we've developed a voice, right? So I have my voice, he has his voice, but we've developed a voice ourselves as a team. And that is hard to say when that happened because it just is two brains coming together to create the third brain. And then I've got the same with Chris in film, who's a different person, and I'm doing this other thing, and we've got a different voice. So it's quite interesting. And sometimes for me, I'm a bit schizophrenic. I'm like, what's my voice? Like Matt's voice. But I think the film is closer to my personal voice because I love film, and Chris and I have very similar. We have different points of reference, but we do love the same stuff.
Right.
So I think we found our voice together. Like we started writing comics separately. He was working on a comic, I was working on a comic, and we started helping each other with that. So I would go, oh, you know what, on your one, what about if you did this and changed that? And what about if this character did that? And he'd be like, yeah, cool. What about if on your one you did this? And then the voices start to merge and you get this new voice. I think Chris and I we have found our voice now. When we started, we were writing a lot of American stuff. So we wrote a Western, a graphic novel that we wrote called Apollo is about the moon landing. And we actually got a lot of heat from some Americans from that. Like, why are British people writing about this American story? Like, as part of their massive part, one of the best things they've ever done, like go to the moon. And it's like, well, yeah, but it was a global thing. It was still the first human on another world. Like, I feel like we all own that, but I actually get what they're saying. But anyway, we used to write a lot of American stuff because that's what we love, and we grew up on American stuff. And then we had a mentor. He was called Alex. Well, still is. His name's Alex Tate, and he's another writer, producer of films, and he sort of helped us out with some scripts and stuff. And he said to us, "Try writing English because you are English, and try writing like stuff set in the UK, and it's a bit more what you know." And I think that was a big pivot for us and a big moment because off of that, we just went, yeah, you know what, you're right, actually. And all of our work, I think, has a sort of Englishness to it. Like The Trick is set in a pub. Batmask is set in the 70s, and it's about a rock star, which is a very British thing in the Beatles and the Rolling Stones and that whole movement of the 70s. And so it's our culture. It's what we grew up with. It's what our parents grew up with. And it's I think it's informed our voice. So we've kind of taken like the American culture that we love and the horror films that we love, and you know, my favorite filmmakers are like Steven Spielberg, James Cameron. Then they're not. I love more avant-garde filmmaking as well, but I'm just gonna be basic and go, I love Steven Spielberg, like, and what, you know?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
so we take that kind of thing, like Steven Spielberg, Cameron, and then we take a Britishness, like a sort of kitchen sink, down to earth, grimy. Britain has also a lot of spiritual, magical, ghostly history, and we kind of mash that together, I think. And I think that's where our voice is, and it's now growing. So yeah, I basically just waffled at you, I think, but
No, not at all.
it's a
This
strange
is
thing. It's
very
like
interesting.
it's this new voice that is growing out of two people, and you know, hopefully it's quite unique as a result, because it's not even one person's voice, two voices. So yeah, it's interesting. But yeah, sometimes I'll write something or have an idea, or he will, and we'll both like the idea, but then we'll agree, you know what, that's not really, we call ourselves Fitch Baker when we're our professional name. And we're like, I like that idea, but it's not really a Fitch Baker idea. It doesn't feel like a Fitch Baker story, that one, you know, because it's a Matt story, or it's a Chris story. But sometimes we hit on something like with the trick and we go, yeah, that's a Fitch Baker story, you know, and it's kind of like we know that that's one now that we want to work on, and the others maybe don't get worked on. So it's a good yardstick for us.
Yes, I know I feel I know what you're saying with that, because you know I've come from a comms background. So when you go to a company and you have to write something, like the amount of speeches I've written for CEOs and presidents and things like that, and sometimes you'll write something and you'll be like, oh yeah, that's good, and then you read it and you're like, yeah, that's too me.
Yeah.
That's what I would say. Like, there's no way Bob would say it like that. And so you have to be like, Bob, what would Bob do? Right, okay.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
you're like, okay, that's more Bob's voice, right? And you have to find that thing.
Yeah, it's the same with characters. Like, sometimes I'll write a character and Chris will say to me, that just sounds like you. And you know, he's right. And the characters have to have their own voice, even though you're writing them all. So really it's you saying everything. It shouldn't sound like you. And also their opinions might be different to you. Like, you might be writing a racist character.
Yeah.
You don't agree with anything they're saying, but you have to kind of get into their head. And, you know, can be quite hard sometimes to do those things, but it's giving life to other things. So yeah, voices they're interesting, aren't they? And voices can change, like musicians, like their styles. Look at like Madonna or Prince, you know, people like decade to decade, they're different, but they're also the same.
Yeah.
So yes, it's fascinating, like how, and maybe our voice will change as we develop and keep going, you know, or I mean, hopefully we'll keep the good bits and just get better, change it for the better, hopefully.
Well, yeah, it's always an interesting one. Like when you look at rappers, right? When someone's been struggling to break through, and that first album, and it's just like, oh, this is gold, right? But you can feel the struggle in it.
Yeah.
And when that album blows up and now they're making bare change, sometimes that second album, that hunger's kind of gone a little.
Yeah.
Right? It doesn't hit the same. And because the voice has been, I mean, diluted slightly.
Yeah. And you can't fake it.
No.
Because you are who you are. And if who you are is a multi-million-dollar successful rapper, you're going to be writing from a different place. You are. It happens with a lot of, in music especially, and not just rap, you know, like all music. Like if you look, like I'm an Oasis fan from back in the day.
Right.
And if you look at their first album compared to their third album, when they were like rich, you know, they're either from working class from Manchester with no money, or they're rich,
Yeah.
doing cocaine all day. It's a different album.
Yeah.
You know, so yeah. See, and the same with filmmakers as well. Like we're talking about Spielberg going from Jaws to, you know, Schindler's List, completely different. And I think he needed to grow into that, and people like mature as well.
Yeah.
So it changes. And and like music, I was in the gym this morning, and like they were playing some early Kanye.
Oh, god damn.
Yeah, and I was like,
Whew.
this is sick.
Yeah.
And then I was like, oh shit, it's a shame what happened to Kanye. Do you know what I mean? It literally made me go. I literally was there going, oh, it's a shame.
But Kanye is a weird one, right? Because he, like, you had those first, definitely first two albums were like great. I forget what the third album was, but I remember there was an album which was a bit like, I don't know about that. But then he comes back with some bangers again. And you're like, oh shit, Kanye's back. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like sometimes, and I do think sometimes it might be the medication. And I think he said, like, it's like the medication, if he's on it, it can shut him down.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So it's kind of like,
that is interesting.
He doesn't always take it, but then it can spiral and you can get some of the statements that you get, which I do feel the press is sometimes behind some of that shit, because I feel you can tell when someone's having an episode.
Yeah, you can.
So it's kind of like, stop asking him questions. Like you're asking him questions because you know he's going to say something crazy, but it's kind of mean to ask, you know.
That's how the modern world works, isn't it?
Just,
catching people. Speaking about like joined voices, his album with Jay-Z, Watch the Throne. Like, I really like that when it came. I still do. When it came out, I was like, oh, this is great. And that's again two like titans coming together and making an album that is quality, but like two different voices, but then one voice. And I actually saw them do it live. And
did you go to the O2?
Yeah, to the O2.
Yeah. I went there. I went there. Yeah.
So you remember they were on different stages at different ends of the stadium, but then sometimes they'd be on the same one.
Yes.
There was like a tunnel or something, and then they'd be
it was so good.
Yeah, really good. And how two people can come together like that and just make something and then go and do their own thing as well. Like, yes, it's impressive. There's been lots of team ups, haven't there, over the years? But yeah. Don't know how we got talking about Kanye West and Jay-Z, but it happened.
I think it was just the voice, right? And how it can change when you get money and different things like that.
Yeah. Well, listen, if I get a load of money and my voice changes, I'm sorry about that. but I'll take it.
But it can make sense, because I do remember just, you know, as we were talking on rap, that someone was just like, why is Jay-Z talking about, you know, like art galleries and stuff like that? Why isn't he talking about the streets anymore? And Jay's like, because I've got a load of money and I don't live on the streets anymore.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Being authentic. People talk about authenticity. If he was talking about the streets, then he wouldn't be authentic anymore.
No.
I did also, I heard years ago, I heard a quote. It might have been Jay-Z or one of his peers, and they said something like, you spend your whole life trying to get out of the ghetto. Like once you're out, hell yeah, you're going to wear bling and you're going to have like 4 cars. Like that's the whole point.
Yeah.
That's literally what I've been working towards. Like I'm not going to pretend to be poor anymore. But actually,
but people want you to,
that's a fair
which
point.
is so crazy.
Yeah.
Oh man. Like I think, and especially, you know, working as in a partnership and you're creating like this and everything like that. Is it even harder at times, because like when you're writing something and you're trying not to be influenced by other people's work.
Yeah.
Right. So you might have an idea and you'd be like, oh my God, that's such a great. And then you realize, fuck. You know what I mean? That was friggin' top 10, or oh man, that's Stormwatch. I can't use that. I want to do something else. Because I just remember one time I was walking around my house and I was like, damn it, that's an incredible idea. And I was just like, man, imagine something that you could transport music on. And you're not stuck in one room and you can listen wherever you go. Oh my God, I could make so much money off of this. And then I looked and I saw my iPod. I was like, oh, fuck. So it's just like, how do you kind of prevent yourself from, like, you know what I mean, through osmosis, taking ideas that aren't necessarily your own?
I don't think you can. I think this is where a voice comes into it. So you can say an idea that has already been said by somebody else, but you say it differently, or you say it in your voice, and then it's different. So, because I think every idea ever has been had.
Pretty much.
I really do think in some form. There's like Joseph Campbell and the theories of like storytelling that there are only 7 stories in the world. And every story ever told is basically a different version of that story. And there are definitely storytelling beats, the hero's journey. Within music, like you can't create new notes.
No.
You've got you've finished, that's it. You've got scales, you've got 12 notes in each scale. Like that's it. You can't create new notes, but you can arrange them differently and you can play them in different pitches and different speeds. And I think it's the same with writing. So sometimes me and Chris will have ideas that we think are original, and they are, but they will have the DNA of something else that we've seen. We're all influenced by what we've seen. And this is what was, going back to what we were saying about culture. My cultural influences growing up in North London are different to Chris's because he grew up in Hampshire. And then they're different again to someone growing up in Spain or India. We're coming at it from a different place. So even if we are talking about the same idea, but I'm living in London and they're living in India, it's going to be different. And I think that's okay. I don't know how we would avoid it. I suppose we are quite honest with ourselves. If we do come up with something, we go, you know what? Oh, shit, that's Terminator. Can't do that. We tend to throw it away because we don't want to be like knowingly ripping off. In advertising, it's fine to rip off.
Oh, yeah. You see that.
Advertising is based on pop culture. And I actually think that that's part of its power, tapping into things that people already know and already understand, and then using them to make an ad. It's a different skill. But yeah, I don't know if anyone can be immune from ideas. I mean, you're saying about your iPod, like Steve Jobs didn't invent the phone.
No.
He didn't even invent touchscreen. He didn't invent any of it. He just put it all together in one thing and also just made it look sexy and marketed it really well.
And made it more efficient. Because you had the Palm Pilots and all of those type of things way before, but they were just clunky. They weren't as responsive, they looked odd.
So he took something that existed, he improved it, but he also put his voice on it. And by voice, I mean like, Apple had a voice, not only in their marketing and advertising, but in the way they made things look, the logo, even the iMac. Like, do you remember, like, all different colors?
Oh my God. Yeah,
and back then, like,
everyone wanted one.
Yeah, and I couldn't afford it, obviously, because
that was the thing. It was too expensive.
Every computer was like a beige box. And they come out with this like egg-shaped teal or pink. It's still a computer. It's still got a mouse. It's still got a screen, but it's just been done in a different voice. So I think what you've picked up on earlier about voice, I think is probably like the root of a lot of things,
Oh, for sure. Because it's funny, right? Because when oh my god, my mind has just gone completely blank. Who's the new dude at Apple now?
Oh, Tim
Cook.
Cook, yeah.
Tim Cook?
Yeah.
Yeah. When he first took over and he did that the first Apple event, he was trying to channel Jobs.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
He was trying to channel Jobs and it just didn't work. And I think watching the Apple events now, because Jobs just did it all in his J's, you know what I mean? And it was one other thing. And it was just these iconic moments that Jobs would do. Tim can't do that. So now, because he's brought in like the heads of all the other departments to do their bits of the thing, and I think it works.
Yeah.
But it's just like, it's understanding what your strengths and weaknesses are. And I think it took a minute for Tim to be like, you know what? This ain't my strength, man. Let's bring in the Avengers and put this together and make it work different. And that's what he had to do.
Yeah. And that's another great thing about working in a team. Like, you know, Steve Jobs did not make all that stuff by himself. He had designers, he had everyone. And I've got, you know, in my advertising life and my film life, have got a partner, you know, and even like, you don't just have your writing and directing partner. We got a producer, Charlie, who we've started a company with, and he's got a voice. It's not necessarily a creative voice, but it's still steering what we're doing. And it's that kind of, it makes it a bit easier having, rather than just me sitting by myself trying to do everything. It's knowing your strengths and knowing who's good. Like Charlie's good at producing. That I'm not. Chris has different writing strengths to me. You know, even when we're writing, there's certain scenes, because when we write feature films, obviously there's more than 4 minutes and there's more different scenes. And sometimes I'll go, you know what, you take this one, because I just know that you're going to do it better than me. And I'll do it as well. Sometimes I'll take one because he's not feeling so confident with it. And people often say, how do you write together? It's not like we're both sitting there on the same laptop, both typing, you know, like we take bits and then I give it to him and then he adds his own, he tweaks it a little bit and then he gives it back to me and I change it. And by the end of it, you don't know who did what and you've kind of forgotten about it and there's no ego. But at the beginning, there are strengths and weaknesses. And even on set, there's strengths and weaknesses of like what we're better at in the moment when we're directing. So yeah, having people around you who can help in anything you do, I think is important. Anyone who says they're self-made, I don't even know if I believe it.
No. Because you're not, right? There's always some sort of assistance that you were able to get, right? You might have wrote songs, but someone lent you their recording studio so you could record them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like there is assistance that we get at all stages, but it's just for one weird thing. I always find it weird when you have like a director talking about their film and they do not mention the writer. Right. And they'll talk about the cast and be like, oh yeah, it was great to work with blah, blah, blah. But then you see nothing about the writer.
Yeah.
And you're just like, wait, what? You didn't write it. What about the, you know what I mean? And those kind of things, it can be weird at times, you know?
Yeah, definitely. And that's actually partly why me and Chris started directing. Not to get credit, but because we were writing things and then other people were directing them and it was different to what we would have done. And you know, to us, it was like, well, these are our stories, our characters, and other people are doing it and they're doing it good, but they're not doing it how we see it. So let's have a go at doing it ourselves. And for right or wrong, or whether the outcome is better or worse, at least it's our vision of it, you know, because it did feel like in comics too. In comics, it feels like the artist gets all the credit, but they need the writer.
Yes.
Otherwise, what you're drawing. And it's the same in film. Like a director needs a script, and you know, I happen to write and direct my own work, rather than other people's work. But yeah, generally writers, I think in any medium, I think writers tend to get done dirty a little bit. In music too, you know, the artist, Rihanna or whoever it is singing it, didn't necessarily write it. Sometimes they do, but sometimes it's just some anonymous person, you know.
Yeah, and they don't get credit. Or the amount of times that someone has said, "Oh yeah, I wrote all the songs," and then it comes out they did not write the songs.
Yeah.
I think it was Natalie Imbruglia. She had that song Torn. And I think when it first came out, she was like, yeah, I wrote the song. And then it turned out it was a cover of I think a Norwegian song or something like that. And it was just like, oh my God, what's happening? Oh man. Like, is that kind of, because, you know, as you said, being able to direct the words that you wrote gives you more control over the vision. Is that another kind of reason for setting up the studio, so you have even more control over what you're doing?
Yeah. I mean, I don't want to sound like a control freak, although I am a little bit. But no, the truth is, it's hard to get films made if you're waiting for someone else to let you do it. It's going to be a long wait.
Yeah.
So that's why we started making films ourselves anyway. We were like, you know what? We just make it ourselves. We're going to pull together whatever we can, get a load of favors, beg, steal, borrow. We're going to do it ourselves. And then it went quite well. We won awards. We did another one. Now it's doing festivals. It's all going quite well. And we're making this feature film, which is based on the first film, Bat Mask. So we've expanded it into a feature film. And we thought, well, we could sell this script and maybe it gets taken away from us. Maybe it gets done differently, or we could just try and do it ourselves, which is harder. But in a way, it's easier because you are at the steering wheel. So I suppose, yes, it is about control, but it's not control from an ego point of view. It's more like, well, if I'm driving the car, I can, not only can I make sure that it gets to where I want it to go, but also you can make sure it gets there at all.
Yeah.
Because you can make sure there's petrol in the car. You can make sure that like you're putting your foot down. Whereas working with a studio externally, they might not have the same drive. They might not be giving it the same love. So that was our reasoning. And also we felt like, you know, in the UK especially, and going back to what I said about America, there's lots of films being made in England all the time, but there's not one studio that is making genre films to a good high quality consistently, like in a way that like America has Blumhouse, or, you know, A24 aren't just genre, but, you know, there's these.
Yeah.
We don't really have that in England. We got companies that do a bit of everything. There are horror studios, but they're quite low budget films. Ours would be low to medium budget as well, but they're sort of elevated to a certain level that I don't think is being done on scale in the UK at the moment. And if I'm wrong, you know, email me and tell me I'm wrong. But that I know of anyway. So we just thought, you know what, there's a gap there, and it's a gap that we would like someone to fill. So why don't we just fill it?
Yeah. I think that makes a lot of sense. And it's, yeah, I think having control over those things is different to wanting to control everything. Because as you said, it's just like, you write a script, right? You've got talent, you want to direct a film, but there's so many people in a similar boat, right? So trying to knock on, you know, Disney's door and be like, hey, can I
exactly.
Can I direct
and trust me, we tried. We did try. Trust me. And it's not happening.
Yeah, because there's so many people wanting to do it. And I think man, I've used this example so many times, but it's like I've been to a few comic conventions, right? And you have people in the panel, whether it's DC, Marvel, and they're like, "Oh, I've got a great Batman story. Can I write it?" And they're like, "Oh, do you? Well, what other stuff have you done?" They're like, "Oh, nothing. I've just been waiting to do this Batman." And it's just like, okay, mister, I've done nothing. I'm going to give you the reins to our biggest character. You know, no one's going to do that. But if you came and said, "You know what, I was pondering the other day and I've got this story, man." And they're like, "Oh, what have you done?" "Well, I'm in the middle of this, I think I'm on the 10th volume of this epic story about thing. I've got this other character, this other." They're going to listen to that person more likely than the person with nothing, because you were willing to bank on yourself.
Yeah.
Right. And so setting up your own thing, doing your own stuff, you're banking on you. So if, you know, Disney and they're like, you know, the first X-Men film, that's good, but they're like, "You know what? He's busy. We're going to bring some new people in." Right. And they'd be like, "Oh man, we saw the trick and Backmarsh. You know what? Let's bring in Fitch Baker to do the next X-Men film." You know what I mean? Because they would have seen your other stuff and they were impressed.
Well, I hope that happens.
I mean, like John Watts, he came from an indie background before he got Spider-Man, right?
Yeah. There's a lot of examples. There is a lot of examples, and you know, we would love to direct something big that someone else, because we love comics, so we would love to do something like that. But at the moment, we're just doing it for the love of these stories. But yeah, actually, I've got to give credit to there's a director called Charlie Thorne. He's a friend of mine, and I went to see Oppenheimer with him when that came out, and I was moaning at the time, like, "Oh, we're trying to get this short film made and we can't get funding." And like, we had a meeting with this production company and they were keen, but then nothing happened. And he said to me what you just said. He went, "Matt, you just have to back yourself. That's how you're going to do it. You just have to basically shut up and back yourself." And then we watched Oppenheimer, which was great. And I was like, "Yeah, shit, he's right." And that was when I got off my ass and made Batmask with Chris and Charlie and just said, "Let's just do it." So that was really good advice. And I'd give that advice to anyone really who's like struggling. You just find a way, you know, there are ways to do whatever it is you're wanting to do.
Yeah.
I read an interview the other day with Pink Pantheress, and she was, you know, she just won the Brit Award, and she was saying she started out using free music apps on her phone. It's like nowadays you can do anything.
Yeah.
If you've got the talent and the drive, the tools are there.
Oh, so, for sure, man. It was very different back in the day.
Yeah.
Right. There wasn't all of this free stuff. There was no internet. Trying to get shit done was harder, a lot harder. Now, so many platforms, right? You can throw your shit on SoundCloud, on, you know what I mean, just anything, right? You can self-publish it on iTunes, right? There's so many things that you can do. So when people like, "Oh, I wanted," but it's just like, what examples have you got?
The hard bit though, after you've made it, is getting people to see it.
Yes.
Or hear it. So like, you know, you got a podcast. I'm sure that you've got your ways of getting it to an audience, but like, how? It's hard. You've got to build that audience, haven't you? And that's what we're trying to do with the films as well. So we've got film festivals that we can enter. Luckily with the internet, we've got a YouTube channel. You know, so there are these things that you can do now, but even then, like getting people to know that your film's out there, like it's hard. It's hard.
Well, I think so with all of that, right? I think there's consistency that is firstly, right? Definitely with a podcast, right? If you keep on doing it, then people pay attention. You know what I mean? Because it was like, it took a minute before like you can get different publicists to start sending you stuff. They're not going to send you their films out the gate, right? But you, once they see you've been doing this for a minute, they're like, oh, okay, yeah, we've seen your reviews. Yeah, we like how you're framing things. Like, here's some of our films, right? And then you work from there, and you work from there. Then you can get some interviews,
right?
And you have to be consistent, right? And that's, I think, one thing. But I think when it comes to music and films and that kind of thing, it's I think it's looking at what you have and breaking it into components, right? So like you've put up the making of the trick, and that's a great little thing, right? To let people get a view on how you do things. Because I think when it comes to music and films and poetry and all of that kind of stuff, people gravitate to voices.
Yeah.
And when they can see how people do things, when they can hear people talk about their work, that's a big thing, right? That's a big pull factor for someone, you know, when they don't know their work, right? Once you've seen a few of your films, then you'll be like, oh yeah, I'm always going to come back for the next one.
Yeah.
But if you've never seen one and you see, oh, the making of or an interview, and you'd be like, man, I like the way he talked about that, right? You can, when you can see the passion, hear the passion, right? That's something that'd be like, oh man, the way he spoke about, I want to see that project. I want to see how, you know what I mean, he tells that story or writes that song. I think those are the things. So if you can put out like snippets, like behind the scenes stuff, so when you're filming, you know what I mean, like depending on your character, right? So you could have the man in black, right? Just a little clip of him doing some card tricks.
Yeah.
Boom. That's just a little video, and you put it out.
I was thinking actually, because that's what we're doing. You know, right now we're growing the company, we're growing the brand, talking to people like you, getting the message out there, and we can't put the trick online yet, which is really annoying because it's in festivals, and a lot of them want premiere. They want premiere, so you're not. They always say, "Is it available publicly?" And you say no because otherwise they won't show it. So, it's not up there. But yeah, we've got the making of. And we're going to put some clips, even though it's only a 4-minute film. We're going to take like some 30-second, you know, best bits and kind of get people excited. And again, it's just more content, like you said, consistency, perseverance on the channel, and then also growing that audience so that when the feature film drops, that again is people who want to go watch it, right?
Yeah, that's and sometimes if you can, right? So you finished a scene, right? Record just something else, a little tag that isn't in the film, but you can use to promote the film.
Right.
So you could have like Rita being interviewed by the landlord for the job, or a conversation between Rita and the landlord, and be like, why, Rita, why do you always want to leave? You always want to, as soon as time, you're always running out the door. I need you to stay. I need you to do things, Rita. Right? Just a little, you know what I mean? That gives you a little dynamic of the two. It's not in the film, so you're not, you know what I mean? It's not detrimental to your festival run, but it's a little insight. And so it's just this little breadcrumb that you can throw out there for people to be like, yo, what's happening here?
You should be a film writer.
Man.
Or an actor. Either way, I just saw the talents.
Maybe at some point I will write down. You know, there's always the ideas, but it's just trying to find the time to
I hear you.
Put things down. But it's just it's finding these different unique avenues into people's lives, right? To let them know why they should care about what you do. because I think the work speaks for itself. It's just getting people to have eyes on the work.
Yeah. Well, that's the goal. That's the mission we're on right now.
Well, I'm sure once people, see everything that they will definitely be on board. But how can they keep track of all this Fitch Baker goodness?
I thought you'd never ask, Kevin. So Fitch Baker is me and Chris. We've got a website called FitchBaker.com. There's things on there. It's really more about us. But Backmask Pictures, which is the company that make The Trick and also made Backmask and is making other films, and we're making our first feature film. So that's called Backmask Pictures. So Backmask. A lot of people call it Black Mask, but it's not. It's Backmask.
That's a different film.
Yeah. It's backmaskpictures.com, or we've also got Backmask Pictures YouTube channel. That's probably the best place, or Backmask_pictures Instagram. And all of those have got news and updates and all that stuff. We're actually trying right now to grow our subscribers on YouTube. So if anyone just hits the subscribe button, that's going to help us out. And also just means you get updated and notified whenever anything drops. That's my sales pitch. That's my advert at the end. Follow us for updates of any festival runs, any screenings coming up, any new things we're doing, any clips. It's all going to be on there.
Splendid. And obviously you've got your films and everything like that, but are you taking other people's scripts or looking to collaborate and bring other people's stuff to life?
Yeah, at the moment, we're not, because we don't have capacity to do it. However, the plan is to grow a company that can. So once we've got the first feature out the door, we're going to be building a slate of films. We've actually qualified for investment, so we're going to be growing. And at that point, me and Chris can't write it all, so we're definitely going to be looking for other voices. If it's good, we're open. Jenny, who we talked about earlier, she's got a short film idea, and we're going to help her hopefully get that off the ground. Just by sharing contacts and helping her where we can. It's very much her story, her script, and we're not trying to get involved in it in that way, but more like she's a friend, she's helped us, and it's a really good script. So we love to help people, and we love to just help films get made. At the moment, we're not really financially able to take on other submissions, but one day.
Okay. Oh man, it sounds like a plan, man. It sounds like there is a lot of building.
Yeah, it's busy times
in place, man. So I'm intrigued for sure. I'm definitely going to I'm subscribing to the YouTube.
Nice.
Because I understand trying to get those subscriptions up on YouTube is
we'll subscribe back.
That's a mission. Sometimes when you look and you're like, oh fuck yeah, but it was weird because it took ages to get to 100, and then all of a sudden it flew up, and now I've been kind of around 480 for a while, and it's just get over 500, and then you can start, doing other shit with it. But it's just it can take a while. But I think there's always something when you grow it organically, because you can see when people buy the subscribers. It's just you don't want to do that shit.
My producer Charlie will be very happy that you subscribed, because he's got it in his head he's addicted to the numbers of it, and he just wants to see it going up. But we had a similar thing, like Backmask, the short film, when it first went online. you know, we promoted it a little bit, but we wanted it to do it organically because we didn't want, not only did we not want to cheat, but we wanted to know that people were watching it for real and we weren't just paying for it. We didn't do much. And yeah, it was very slow to begin with. And then one weekend it just started popping. I don't know why. And now it's got like 50,000 views and it's going up quite steadily.
Yeah.
And we're getting good comments and stuff. So, and, you know, people are liking it. So yeah, it does just happen. But we'll get you to 500. I'm going to give you one right now. And then I'll tell other people and it'll be easy.
Oh man. Well, you know what I mean? Like, definitely when, you know, other projects are ready to talk about, come by. And
sure.
We'll have more conversations, man. And you know, if Chris isn't looking to sun himself in Spain all the time, maybe you could bring him along. But
yeah, he'd love to. He'd love to. He likes to talk. He's very different to me, like in personality. So it'd be a different chat, and I'm sure he'd love to. Yeah.
Cool, man. But yeah, no, I think, man, I think what you're doing is great.
Thanks.
I really do. So I'm definitely on board, and I'm looking forward to see everything that's gonna come from this, man. Because I mean, talent speaks for itself, really. You know what I mean? And it's just getting those eyes on it at times. But once you do, whew, gonna be like a motherfucking avalanche, man.
That could be a quote. We put that quote on the poster on the DVD box.
Oh man, yo, this has been great, man.
Yeah, it's been fun. Good chat.
Yeah, I've been able to talk about all the things I like: music, film, comics, advertising. Ah, boy. But people, all the links will be on the webpage for this episode. So make sure that you click through so you can find out what the guys at Fitch Baker are doing next, where the trick might be playing next. Like, do you have other festival dates?
Yes and no. So horror films generally, like they're in October, the festivals. So we're waiting to hear on a lot of them. We do know that we're going to be screening in LA. If any of your listeners are in LA at Screamfest later in the year. So that's quite a big horror festival in LA. It's at the Chinese Theatre with all the handprints, like the famous ones. So that's very cool. We're waiting to find out. We've entered a lot of festivals, and they just basically throughout the year you get notifications. So yeah, watch this space still.
Okay, so that's another reason to subscribe to the YouTube, the Instagram, the website, so you can get this sort of information, people. So make sure you do that. Follow these people, because you know, right, at the moment you see names like Radio Silence, you see Bloomhouse all over the spot. Soon gonna be Fitch Baker, people. Soon gonna be Fitch Baker. So get on at the ground floor. Do not miss out. You know what I mean? Get yourself some trick. Boom.
Love it. Listen to the man. Listen to Kevin.
Well, Matt, this has been a straight up pleasure. Thank you so much. Guys, give props for Tom for putting this together. But yeah, appreciate your time, my friend. Appreciate
you too. Thanks very much. Yeah, it's been good. Been good. And look, hopefully I'll see you in real life at a screening. We'll let you know if there's any. Where are you based?
I'm in Woolwich.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah. There'll be screenings around. We'll let you know. Maybe see you at one. See you at Comic-Con, maybe. And,
yeah. Yeah, I think we're gonna be trying to do some live things.
Oh, nice.
A bit later in the year. So once we got some dates together, I'll hit you guys up too.
Yeah, please do. All right.
Outstanding, man. All right, take it easy, man.
See you later. Bye.